Fred said, with a good band, anybody will sound good. So. My good friend.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was great. Great song. Where are my glasses? Okay. You know, it was funny when I was listening to the announcements about Clancy teaching a class on nonviolent communication. Pardon me. It brought back to mind an incident. I am a spiritual advisor to a gentleman who's been in prison. He has a life sentence. And during that time, I had sent him many books and came and visited him. It used to be at Corcoran. And I would visit him once a month. And generally, we would just play games. And he had a little time where he could just feel like a normal person. We would play Uno and dominoes and all kinds of card games and even Scrabble, which is one of my favorite games. I used to call myself the Scrabble champion of the universe because hardly anybody could beat me except Barbara. Anyway, we were playing Scrabble, and I always used to beat him every time, just smashed him. And one time, he actually beat me. And I said, "Oh, no, you didn't." And I hauled off and punched him in his arm, right this in front of all the policemen and guards and everything. And he said, "I need to send you back that book called Nonviolent Communication. You need to read that again." It was so funny. I went, "Oh, my God, I can't believe your minister punched you." I'm just a big, huge, buffed-out guy. I mean, he could squish me with his thumb. It was so funny. We both laughed hysterically. So, yeah, take that course. I'd like to, well, the title of my talk today is Original Goodness. And I'd like to start with a quote from a book by the same title by Eknath Easwaran, one of my favorite writers and teachers. He said, "Goodness is the natural state of this world. The world is good." Oh, I'm starting with the wrong quote. Hello. I was so excited by the excellence of our new accompanist that I can hardly get it together. Okay. "We are made," the scriptures of all religions assure us, "in the image of God. Nothing can change that original goodness. Whatever mistakes we have made in the past, whatever problems we may have in the present, in every one of us, the uncreated spark in the soul, the original goodness of God, remains untouched, ever pure, ever perfect. Even if we try with all our might to douse it or to hide it, it is always ready to set our personality ablaze with light." I love that quote. Before there was original sin, there was original goodness. If you were made in the image of the divine, you can't be anything less than your source. There's a wonderful quote from a book entitled Travels in a Stone Canoe, The Return to the Wisdom Keepers. It's a quote from a Native American who said, "Goodness is the natural state of this world. The world is good. Even when it seems evil, it is good. There's only goodness in God, and that same goodness is in us all. You can feel it in yourself. Yes, you are God's child. You are good. You are sacred. Respect yourself. Love the goodness in yourself. Then put that goodness out into the world." That's everybody's instructions. There's something I'd like to share with you that took place this last week and a half. You know, we have this situation going on with the Syrians, and the intention of our government was to bomb them, basically, to bomb the means to deliver chemical weapons. And there was a big groundswell of opposition to this plan. And one of our ministers wrote a spiritual mind treatment that is an affirmative prayer. She shared it on the minister's listserv. All the minister put it on their Facebooks. It went around the world lickety-split. And I want to share it with you. There is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. It is the life of all people and all beings everywhere. In this consciousness, I speak my word. knowing and accepting that divine love intelligence is active now as the only power, presence, and activity moving through all people and all conditions in Syria and the Middle East. I accept and expect the miracle of an inspired and inspiring turn of events and a surprisingly good solution, revealing divine order and peace and bringing an end to violence and loss of life. God makes a way out of no way, and it is happening now. I accept peace, comfort, supply, and love for all the people of Syria, and in neighboring countries. I accept that President Obama and Bashar al-Assad and all the leaders of the USA, Syria, and the world are guided by the deepest truths of oneness and peace. There is good for us in the world, and we ought to have it, and we have it now. I give thanks for this, releasing this word to the law that does the work, and knowing it is done. It is done. Amen and amen. Om. Shanti. Shalom. Peace. Now, I'm not saying, but a couple of days later, Russia came up with this idea. Have you all been paying attention to this? I think it's kind of interesting. I don't know, but I'm just saying. That was a very powerful prayer, and it spread all over the place really quickly. All over not only our churches, but many churches, Facebook pages, Twitter. No, you can't do Twitter. That's too many words, right? Anyway, all those other things. I'm not involved with social media, but I know that it really, really spread. And there was this great groundswell of, is there another possibility for us here? Is there another possibility for the world? And, 2 days later, I'm just saying. A famous general, General Omar Bradley, said, "We have grasped the mystery of the atom and rejected the Sermon on the Mount. Ours is a world of nuclear giants and ethical infants." Take that. In case you thought you were all that. One of the Sanskrit names for the lotus blossom, anybody ever seen a lotus blossom? Oh, it's most exquisite, beautiful blossom. One of the Sanskrit names is Pankaja, born of mud. That's what it means. And in the murky depths of a pond, a seed takes root. And then a long wavering strand reaches toward the sun. It moves up through the water toward that glimmer of light above. And from that murky, muddy, yucky-looking water, a bud emerges. And warmed by the sun's rays, slowly it opens and it forms a perfect chalice to hold the sun's ray. The lotus is a beautiful symbol for the core of goodness that is in every single human being without exception. And though we are born of human clay, each of us has that capacity to reach and reach and reach for the light, to grow toward heaven until we shine with the light of the reflected glory of our Maker, of our Creator. There was a wonderful mystic, Christian mystic, Meister Eckhart. I don't know if all of you know him, but he's worth reading. He said, the seed of God is in us. Given an intelligent and hardworking farmer, it will thrive and grow up to God, whose seed it is, and accordingly its fruits will be God nature. Pear seeds grow into pear trees. Nut seeds grow into nut trees, and God seeds into God. The seed is within every one of us. The ground is fertile, and nothing is required but diligent gardening to bring into existence the God tree, the holy, perfect, wonderful, fabulous, beautiful, gorgeous individual that you truly are at the core. Your life can be a life that proclaims the original goodness that is in all creation. The implications of this statement that God's seed will grow into God tree are far-reaching. When they are rightly understood, they can lift the most oppressive burden of guilt. They can destroy all self-loathing due to past mistakes and errors. They can restore the loss of our self-esteem. For if goodness is indeed our real core, goodness that it can be hidden, but it cannot be taken away. If that's true, then goodness is not something you have to get. It's something that you already have. You don't have to figure out how to make yourself good. All you need to do is remove the covering. Remove what covers the goodness that is already there, and it will reveal itself. You know, I said before, original sin was original goodness. That is our real nature. There's an interesting book out called Original Blessing by Matthew Fox. How many of you know who Matthew Fox is? Yeah, he was a Catholic theologian. He was a Catholic priest and a teacher in some of the major universities, Catholic universities. And he was teaching that we are all good. And a bunch of other things. He would have African drummers come to his church, and he would have a rabbi come and speak, and he would welcome everybody. And so the Catholic hierarchy did not look kindly on him. And they did something which is called silencing him. They silenced him. And that means he could no longer teach. He could no longer preach. He could no longer give communion. I heard him. He decided to become an Episcopal priest for a while. And then the first time he spoke in public, I got to hear him. He's the author of many books, and he said, as I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, he said, I have come to study other religious traditions, including biblical ones, and have learned how rare a concept, quote, original sin, end quote, is among these faiths. Islam rejects original sin, even though they keep the story of Adam and Eve. Judaism rejects it, even though they created the story of Adam and Eve. And Jesus was a Jew. Native Americans reject it. One Native American, who is also a Catholic, told me that when it comes time for baptism, Native Americans memorize the rote of the catechism about original sin to please the officiating clergy, but they do not believe it. Buddhism rejects it. Eastern Orthodox Christians do not emphasize original sin either. It was St. Augustine who first used the term in the 4th century A.D. Jesus himself, being a Jew, never heard of the concept. How strange that a religion would sustain itself on a theory that its founder never even heard of. There must be a reason for a religion sustaining itself on a theory that was invented 4 centuries after the founder died. And there is. The church inherited the Roman Empire in the 4th century. And to run an empire efficiently, one needs theories like original sin to keep the citizens and the soldiers in line. Woo! He was a cat. No wonder they silenced him. And he further states, what a blessing it makes to teach our children that they are blessings first and, quote, sinners only second. So much low self-esteem, internalized oppression, and violence to self and others rule our society. Facing bouts and binges of addiction ranging from bulimia to consumerism. One therapist told him that she had come to realize how many problems arise in the psyche from toxic religious messages. The seed of God is already within us. And if you're good gardeners, we have an organic gardener here. Hi, Ken. He raises organic produce. It's absolutely delicious. And he blesses the weeds even. He goes out there, and as he hoes them up, he says, bless you, weed. Bless you, weed. Because he knows that it's all good. It's all God. And if he trains himself and is disciplined, he can pull the weeds out and he can raise fruit that's absolutely perfect, delicious, without a flaw. So before original sin was original goodness. That's our real nature. It can't be anything else. Everything else, all our habits, all our conditioning, all our mistakes, they're just masks. The promise and the discipline and the purpose of all spiritual training is to take off the mask that hides our real face. So I'd like to ask you, what kind of masks are you using? You know, we invent masks for ourselves because somebody hurt us. We're afraid. There are all kinds of reasons for people to create masks. But to remove the masks that hides the truth of who you are is to accept and reveal the original goodness from which you spring. You know, Nelson Mandela is 95, and he's been rather ill, in and out of the hospital quite a bit lately. I think you all know who Nelson Mandela is, the man who became the first black president of South Africa after having been in prison for 27 years, 13 of which were taken up with hard labor. He never got a visit except once every 6 months, and he couldn't get a letter except once every 6 months. He came out of that experience with the power to immediately ignite a civil war and a horrible bloodletting in his country. But instead he said, forgive. And people weren't in the mood to. But because of the respect and the admiration that he commanded, he was able to help that nation transform itself peacefully. He was inaugurated as president, first black president of South Africa in 1994, and he quoted one of our New Thought teachers, Marianne Williamson. And this is what the quote that he used. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Amen. Thank you. You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will not feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Wow, he said this to a group of people that had been oppressed for years. All the laws were made particularly to keep them down, to keep them from having power, to keep them from thinking of themselves as beautiful, as talented, as brilliant, or as children of God. And somehow that speech really got under the people's skin. And they decided to own their greatness. They decided to own their divine selves, their own power. They took off the mask of oppression. They took off the mask of victims. They took off even the mask of anger and desire for revenge. And they set about to recreate their country as a place of peace, acceptance, equality, and love. So it's time for us all to take off the mask that hides our original goodness, our true self, our true beauty, our greatness. Playing small does not serve the world. I'm not talking about become a big egotist. You know, I'm not talking about that kind of greatness. I'm talking about with great humility saying, I am a direct expression of the goodness of God. I am a direct expression of the creativity, the love, the beauty, the peace, the harmony, the balance, the energy of the divine. And I'm willing to own it. I'm willing for that power to move in as and through me today so that every person I meet is blessed. Everything I touch is healed. Everything I look at is beautiful to my eyes. Every person I see is the face of God. There's a beautiful song written to that effect. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Turn to somebody next to you and sing this to them. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Yes. Tim came up here to make some announcements, and the first thing he said is, what if we said, how can anybody tell you you were anything less than beautiful? What if we told everybody they were beautiful? No matter what the mask may be. You are the face of the divine and nothing less. It's time that we own that. It's time that we put aside whatever toxic religious training we may have received that did not serve the purpose of opening us to that original goodness. And it's not just religious training. You may have had toxic parental training or toxic friends. Or you may be getting the message from all the consumerist advertising that you're not good enough without a certain kind of mascara. Ladies, if you don't have long lashes, oh my God, you're so out. Yeah, I mean, it's designed to sell stuff. It's designed to make you feel so inadequate that you have to run out and buy things in order to belong to the inset. You got to have certain kind of shoes. In fact, one of the biggest stores that has opened on Mooney Boulevard since the recession is a gigantic shoe store. Huge. And my question is, hey, I buy 2 pairs of shoes. I wear them for 3 years till they wear out, and then I go and buy a couple more pairs. How many pairs of shoes do you really need, ladies? Okay, all right, you style fashionistas. We're all subject to conditioning. We're all subject to conditioning that causes us to wear masks, aren't we? Okay, get over the shoe comment, all right? Just kidding. Moving right along. Yeah, I've had some people say, Kathleen, you could go and buy a new pair of shoes. Okay, moving right along. We're all subject to conditioning. I know when I was growing up, I was told men don't like smart women. I know men that were told that it wasn't manly to cry, show their emotions, show sensitivity, go into theater, become a musician. You've heard that term, man up. You know, I wish you'd man up. What does that mean? Yeah, put the mask on. Don't show us how you really feel. So we've all been subjected to conditioning that does not really serve the truth of who we are. It does not really serve the freedom for us to be who we are at the core. It does not really serve us. It doesn't help us to reveal the goodness that we are, the kindness, the consideration. I remember I had a relationship long ago with a man who had a very good heart. But when I asked him to please call me and let me know if he was going to be late or not show up, he used to say, I'm a man. I don't need to answer to no woman. I was, excuse me. What's your being a man have to do with this? Yeah, it was the idea that in order to show consideration to a woman, he would be somehow weakening his manhood. Yeah, it was a very bizarre quality that he included somehow in his definition of manhood. We all have these things, not just men, but women and children. All kinds of people are subject to conditioning that causes them to wear masks that do not really reflect the truth of who they are. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. I'm challenging you today to open your heart to the possibility that you are brilliant, that you are gorgeous, that you are talented, that you are sacred, that you are divine, that you have a fabulous, wonderful gift, and the gift is you. That the gift that you have is your true self, your original goodness, your divine being. Dr. Ernest Holmes, from his wonderful text, The Science of Mind, he said the power behind everything is good, as well as creative, and an eternal and changeless intelligence in which we live and move and have our being. Intuitively, we sense that every person in his or her native state is some part or manifestation of this eternal principle, and that the entire problem of limitation, evil, suffering, and uncertainty is not God ordained, but is a result of ignorance. It has been written that the truth shall make us free, provided that we know the truth. And we note that the evolution of our consciousness brings with it the acquisition of new possibilities and new powers. So please do yourself a big favor and this world. When you look in the mirror tomorrow, I want you all to say, you are the face of God. Practice. Let's say it together. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. Yeah, whatever the mask is that you carry around, put it down and hold that image of yourself as pure, as clean, as sacred, as valuable, as holy, as divine. Hold that in your heart. You are a part of me. Yeah, who are you saying that to? You're saying that to God. In you and as you. You know how we say namaste? Everybody go like this and bow to somebody. Namaste. Yeah, what that means is the God in me, the sacred in me, recognizes and honors and bows to the sacred in you. That's what that means. So when you look in the mirror and say you are the face of God, this is not like an egotistical thing. You are recognizing yourself as made in the image of the divine. You are the face of God. You are a part of me, God. I hold you, God, in my heart. You are the face of God. And I am a reflection of that. I'm a reflection of that good. There's a wonderful song, I sing it sometimes, it's called Evolution. And it goes kind of like this. You can travel to the planets, drive a mile through solid granite, but we're overcome with blindness by an act of human kindness. We can, it's something about we can travel to quite a distance, track the comets in the distance, but where are we? Like General Bradley says, we're nuclear giants and what did he say? Ethical infants. And the song ends with, welcome back, Tyrannosaurus. Grab a club and join the chorus. Evolution is a state of mind. Evolution is a state of mind. So I'm challenging you all this week to own your divinity, to own your sacredness, to throw away all those criticisms that you have of yourself that were placed upon you by anybody or anything, and to say, I am alive within God, and God is alive within me. Say that. I am alive within God, and God is alive within me. This is a face of God. Everybody say that. This is a face of God. Yes, you are the face of God. Don't play small. The world needs you. This prayer that I shared with you about Syria and the whole Syrian situation came from a person who believed herself to be powerful. Instead of sitting around saying, poor us, poor world, everything's a big mess and there's nothing we can do about it, she took that power and with great humility and great love for not only our country but for the people of the world, she spoke her word and released it into that law of energy, that law of God that just says, yes, I'm just saying, You are much more powerful than you think you are. It's time to own it. I challenge you to do so. You beautiful, fabulous, talented, gorgeous, valuable, sacred animals, you. So it is.